Welcome everybody. My name is Robert Matthews. I'm principal from Inner Sydney High School. Well, first of all, I would like to acknowledge that we would pay respect to the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation and acknowledge the connection with land, nature and each other. We acknowledge that our school is built on and what is and what always will be Gadigal land. So a warm welcome to all of you. As we can see this afternoon, this is a very exciting time to welcome our students into Year 7 Inner Sydney High School 2022. And I know that it has been a really challenging time for all families this year. It is a shame to see what our students have gone through in their final year of primary school. I know it has been difficult, but I know that we are looking forward to welcoming our students into high school next year. And we are hoping that there will be a few restrictions for our students and for our families. But it was absolutely wonderful to see your children at our school today. They were positive, they were excited, they were extremely well behaved, and we are very much looking forward to day one for 2022. So today we have lots of information for you about starting high school. As Nigel mentioned, there will be the chance to actually ask questions, but hopefully by the end of the presentation, we're going to try and cover all we possibly can. So the presentation will look at a little bit about us, our DNA, our essential facts for 2022, and also the opportunity for some burning questions. But first of all, let's have a think about our DNA. As you can see, we have a beautiful school. We're so privileged. Our students and our teachers are so lucky to be in this space. But moving forward, in terms of what makes our school so special, of course, it's our students and it's our teachers. As you can see around the table, our executive table, we have some amazing leaders. We have Head Teacher Administration, Miss Kelso, Miss Bomer, who is our relieving Head Teacher English. We have Science with Mr. Kwan, who's working behind the scenes this evening. We have Miss Davis, who is Head Teacher Wellbeing. Miss Lane to the right of me, Head Teacher Kappa. We have our Head Teacher Teaching and Learning, Miss Witherden. We have our head teacher, our newly appointed head teacher mathematics, Mr. Ashok, and our newly appointed head teacher, Taz, Mr. Walker. As you probably know by now, to my left, of course, is our deputy principal, Mr. Kazanis, and it's lovely to have our P&C president with us tonight, Jamil Knight. But of course, working together, it's about developing a school culture which is about student growth and attainment. It's about innovation, it's about inspired learning with high expectations and continuous improvement. And it all makes sense in terms of our educational precinct, in terms of our authentic collaboration and connections. Ultimately, our students are at the centre of what we do, and our students are known, valued and cared for. And you can see through these images, whether that's in the sporting field, whether it's just on campus, you can see it's within our campus. It's in a range of different opportunities which we'll explore tonight. Now, Chris, I might hand over to you to actually talk to our educational model here at INSID.
Yeah, thank you, Robin. And look, it's lovely to come to you here from level 10 in this incredible facility that you see behind us. And it's obviously a small snapshot. And I know that we welcomed a lot of you on site for the open night earlier in the year. What's really important is the notion that this school was built around an educational model. What we mean by that is we didn't end up with buildings and then trying to figure out how we would teach in these spaces, but it was actually the other way around. What happened was we wanted to build these incredible skills in our students and these dispositions, and how we go about teaching those skills in these spaces here. And so what the architects were then tasked to do was to design a building that would really, nourish this idea of these incredible skills that we want our students to take into the real world. So what you will notice as part of that learning model is that notion of co-teaching as well as transdisciplinary learning. And that's all about that connection and that ability to communicate effectively and collaborate. You will notice that our facilities are very high tech. We are a very high tech facility. We will talk about our technology at a later stage. And then you'll also notice the importance that we base on our community and taking those experiences outside. Thank you to a lot of you that already returned those notes for the educational precinct. As you know, Miss Knight, who is a mother of some children here, her children would have experienced these incredible opportunities and these learning moments that go beyond the four walls of the school. But that's a little bit of our educational model. Obviously, we are trying to cover a fair bit today.
That's right.
So throughout the year, we do tend to have a lot of our community Zooms where families do have an opportunity to dive a little bit deeper. So keep an eye out for those. Thank you, Nigel.
Thanks, Chris. One thing I want to stress to all of you is that our curriculum is no different here at Inner Sydney High School than any other school in the state. So we are covering our curriculum requirements from NESA, but the only main difference is the fact that we will actually study the language of Japanese in Year 7. So I know languages are really important to our community. So it's Japanese for us at Inner Sydney High School. We have a fantastic teacher, Miss Hashimoto, who I know our students have really enjoyed those Japanese lessons this year. The other difference might be, you might know some students going to a non-government school and where sport might take place on a Saturday. However, in our case, sport is on a Tuesday afternoon and it's part of our day.
Now, pursue your passion, Robin. That's something that's really been interesting for our kids and growing that organically. It is a signature of our DNA here at INSID. And where we really started that story was actually about the sense of identity. Students making that incredible transition from primary into high school, having that opportunity to form that identity, and then sometimes looking at some of the mediums to represent that identity. We then built that with a little bit of outward focus for the second semester in Year 7, where we started to look deeply at sustainability and that purpose of being able to, give back to the community. Now that led on to Year 8, where Year 8 we started to really explore our community and opportunities to improve items within our community. And then growing from that, we then look at the global, that global citizenship that is really important in instilling that in our students. So pursue your passion is one of those interesting things that sits outside of those mandatory hours, Robert, like you spoke before. But we really feel it is so incredibly important and so rich in terms of the learning opportunities for our students.
And when does PIP actually take place, Chris?
On Tuesday, so great opportunity. You'll see even in the top left, 3 of our lovely students. That's actually taken at MCA, which is one of our incredible educational partners at the school that we've enjoyed using their facilities and their artist educators. A really fantastic opportunity for our students.
Now, hand you over to Renee. Over to you.
Thank you. So positive education is the foundation of our wellbeing framework, and it really underpins everything we do at the school. So we have adapted a strengths-based approach to education, which really means that we encourage our staff as well as our students to develop their top strengths. And some of these might be things like perseverance, humour, love, kindness, curiosity is one that often comes up, and zest, through their academic endeavours, but also through their interpersonal connections as well. So the PERMA structure that you see up on the screen underpins our wellbeing curriculum, which is rolled out to students through our touchdown sessions, which occur three times a week. We really believe that every student has the potential to develop their skills and their abilities. And through the PERMA structure, so looking at positive emotion, engagement, relationships, meaning, accomplishment, and health, we strive for them to become their best selves as students, but more importantly, taking that through to adulthood as well. So that's just a little bit about how we roll out positive education at the school.
And I love them drawing on their character strengths too, Renee, which is something that's really positive. When they find themselves in adversity, it is a very powerful notion to be able to draw upon those strengths.
And particularly through lockdown.
It has been,
very
absolutely.
Yeah, and we do know that all our students know their top 5 as well as our staff, so it is something that is ingrained in the culture at the school. Last year too, as a foundation staff member at the school, and we had a small group of students working with us, we're actually really thinking about what we wanted our school to reflect and represent, and through quite a few workshops and discussions, we came up with the values, our core values of respect, kindness and excellence. And these are things that we hold to quite tightly. Our students are well aware of these expectations and these values, and our recognition system is also built on these. So I think it was only last week we actually had a recognition assembly, or a version of, where students actually received badges to represent and to reflect the good work they've done in particular areas. So that's something that's very much all around the school, and that the students really see as important, as well as the teachers.
And I think one of the good things is, Renee, too, obviously with our touchdown, led by our teacher mentors, is that opportunity for feedback. So when we spoke about growing what matters most at the school organically, it was really driven through that notion of Feedback Friday and that structure. So what you will see before you is the Monday, Wednesday and Friday, where for 20 minutes we do teach explicitly wellbeing skills. And there is those critical support networks. It's the notion that a child should not fall through the cracks, that they have at every point someone to turn to for any of their concerns. So if they do have a concern, some of the key people that they can speak to is their mentor. And their mentor, as part of their touchdown group, is a smaller class size with a mentor that will hopefully see them through from here until the end of their schooling. They'll have their lead mentor, Miss Ema, and then obviously Miss Davies, our head teacher wellbeing. And that's just the start of the support in terms of wellbeing, for positive wellbeing for students.
Okay, now Chris, in terms of our INSID teams, another feature of our school in building our school from scratch was actually developing our teams. And what we're going to do alongside our POSED team is to really think about how we just not just have those for sporting achievements, but for achievement across the school. So as you can see, we're really proud of the way in which our students have developed these from scratch. And you can see there we have Thurston and Barty and Goods and Freeman, all incredible sports people in their own right. But it was so lovely to see them come to fruition this year in our sporting carnivals. Wasn't it fantastic? It was great to see.
And our Inspired Leadership group really did a fantastic job of then sort of using that to drive other elements within the school, not just in the sporting arena. And I really look forward to seeing what 2022 looks like, and strongly encourage those wonderful students that are watching us here this evening to get involved, because I think there is so many wonderful opportunities building a school from scratch that they'll have here at INSID.
Okay, now moving forward in terms of the essential facts for 2022. Now today, your child would have brought home a sports bag. Now within that sports bag was a folder full of lots of information. So hopefully this information has actually reached home. And in that pack, you'll find information about your school Opal card, about our cafe menu and how it's great to be able to order online, about vaccinations, about our uniform shop price list, the Year 7 schedule of fees, our suggested stationery list, and also about our many extracurricular activities as well as sport information as well.
I did notice, Robin, that one student did leave it on their seat, so please reach out to the school and we'll be able to issue you another one, because it is really important information.
And that's pretty good. For over 200 students, only one student left it behind, so I think that's pretty great. So look, getting to know our school. Some really basic information that you need to be aware of. School starts at 8:50 a.m. to 3:10 on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday. And once again, this information is in your pack. On a Tuesday, we start at 8:50 and finish at 2:40 because of sport. And on Thursdays, we finish at 2:50. We have a meeting that's nearly finished for our students. But if you really think about it, if a student misses school 5 minutes every day, it certainly adds up. So it is a mantra of ours. In order to be successful at school, you need to be at school. So it's really, really important that you do some travel training to make sure that your child will be on site by 8:50 a.m. As it's mentioned before, the cafe menu is in your handout. And I think Chris will talk through a little bit more about sport later in the presentation. So our class structure.
Currently, Robin, we've actually got, it does change because we are fielding enrolment applications even as we speak.
Yes,
I think
that's right. Even some overnight, so we're
5 overnight, so we are
applications.
Absolutely, but currently we're looking at 8 Year 7 classes. You'll see them before you there. All classes are mixed ability, and then they get further split for TAS and visual art rotations, which means that we do limit the size of those classes to ensure safety in those specialist areas.
And we can't exactly tell you our exact numbers for next year until we do finalise our enrolments for 2022.
And that normally takes place on day one when we have bums on seats, as they say.
Now, I-Week.
Very enjoyable week for Year 7 students.
I wish Mr. Quine could be on screen because he's had such an important part in this important week for orientating our students into life at Inner Sydney High School. And as we mentioned today, don't worry if this information is overwhelming. It's okay, because we're going to run through all this information in the first week back at school. Chris?
I think the really strong notion of this is, in my experience as an educator, this is by far the best orientation program I've seen. It is really in depth. It covers all these elements. Obviously, some of the, the nuts and bolts, you would say, like travel to and from school, but also some of the really incredible things that set us apart from a lot of other schools in our area, including that rich use of technology in our learning spaces and in our learning sessions. So it's a great opportunity to dive deep and really feel supported in that orientation. And that's why we call it I-Week, because it is an inspired week for our students. Now, Central Parent Portal is an incredible tool that we use. It is something that has recently been developed by Central and obviously updated to an app format. We use Parent Portal for things such as access to the student timetable, attendance, semester reports, and continuous assessment. So they're ways that we communicate with our community. It is really important to understand, and if you have the opportunity, for some of you might already have other students in schools that use this, we will be giving you a unique account and a code that you can then upload for that particular student that you have coming here to Inner Sydney High School. But it is really important that we have all our family uptake. I think we were very close to 100% about halfway through last year. We want to improve on that this year. We want to get it from the get-go. So if you're looking at a way to get a little bit better prepared for 2022, take the time to download, create your account, and the moment that we have confirmed our enrolments, you'll be sent a unique code for your child that you can then put into Central for Parents, the Parent Portal. And what is really fantastic, a big shout out to our incredible SAS staff, because they are absolutely the engine room of this school, and they are more than happy to help any family through anything, especially if this is the first time that you are seeing a child in high school. So do not hesitate to email or to call if you need any help. I know in particular, Miss Baduras has been exceptional at getting that up to 100% through the year.
Absolutely. But what we would like to do, if we can, is that code will be sent out once your child is registered through our back-end system. So sometimes what does happen, it gets to semester reports, then all of a sudden it's a bit of a scramble to actually get onto Central. So it's really important if we can try and do that as soon as possible, it's going to make life really easy at Inner Sydney.
Now, our educational precinct, another signature of ours. We really pride ourselves on taking learning opportunities beyond the classroom spaces. And we came up with this idea of there was incredible richness within our community of all these wonderful places that we can visit to enhance some of the learning that takes place in the classroom. So obviously COVID has been, has affected this through 2020 and 2021. But you see before you a lot of either the proposed or spaces that we have actually attended within that educational precinct. Now, why is this important? It's important because we need the permission to be able to take students out in these more informal learning opportunities that we would call excursions. So that was one of the notes that were sent out via email. I did also have a few students that collected a hard copy. Thank you to all the families that have done their due diligence and sent that back. If you have any questions, contact the school. We can supply it again, but please bring that in because that means that we have the opportunity to take a whole classroom out to supplement some of that learning that takes place within our learning spaces.
Okay, so moving forward about our extracurricular activities. So at Inner Sydney, we've decided not to actually pre-plan our activities in 2019. We want to see what our students really wanted to explore last year as well as this year. So what you see in front of you will be changing, but it is an example about what we actually have designed for our students for 2021. Next year, it might look a little bit different. There could be some new activities. There could be some which our students don't want to engage in, but there are some really important ones there that you can see. You can see art, you can see the concert, and I'm going to let Renee Lane go into more detail about some of these ensembles, but things like the Learning Hub, that's an opportunity for students to actually do some additional work after school in the library, and it's actually really popular. Now, you can see that there's a languages club. We also have a mini figures. We have a maths explorers. So there's many opportunities for our students to engage in extra activities according to their need and their interests. So I'll hand over now to Renee just to talk through a little bit about our ensembles.
Sure. So for quite a small school, we have a lot of opportunities, and we started last year with a dance ensemble, a drama ensemble, concert band and vocal ensemble, but we've actually grown dance and drama to 2 groups. So I might just talk through a little bit about each group because I know there'll be a lot of interest in them. So concert band is open to absolutely anyone that plays a concert band style instrument. There's no auditions to be a part of concert band, but we do expect the students to be able to read sheet music. Often concert band is a place for students to practice together, not to really be dissecting, I guess, the notes on the different pieces that they'll be working on. So that concert band is led by Mr. Logue, who's one of our experienced music teachers here. Dance company and dance ensemble. So both of those are auditioned and basically are open to all year groups too. So I'll talk a bit at the end about the audition process. But like the last 2 years, we've actually been able to include every student that's auditioned. So it's not about excluding people. It's really just making sure that we have the right ratio of students to the teacher at the time, and that we can accommodate them in the spaces that we have. So the same goes for the drama company and drama ensemble. So drama is, I guess, my area. So I run both of those particular groups at the moment. I should mention that dance ensemble at the moment, we have had an external choreographer come in and she may return next year. We also have a very capable dance choreographer on staff as well. So drama is also auditioned, and then we also have our vocal ensemble. And vocal ensemble, again, is open to anyone who would like to sing. So it's really an open group. It's all years. There's no audition. So as long as you've got the passion and the willingness to go away and to learn the lyrics of the songs that are being performed, that's absolutely a great place to meet new people and to sing along. At the moment, unfortunately, as you're probably aware, our concert band and vocal ensemble are on hold, only because of COVID, but we're sure that things will open up for us next year there. What we had this year, we managed to fit in before we had to work from home, is Whipping, which was our work in progress night. So students in all the ensembles had an opportunity to perform in front of a parent audience, and that was a very successful evening. So we really believe in giving our students opportunities to perform in front of a live audience. And we also had our dance students, you can see them up on the screen there, perform in the Spotlight, which is our regional dance festival sort of competition at the Seymour Centre. So we're really active in trying to get our students out there, and we will be working with primary schools in the near future as well. And our students are really enjoying that opportunity. So with dance too, you can be a beginner dancer. With drama, you can have never done drama ever before. And just, I guess, with the ensemble and company structure, the ensemble is probably more for students that are beginners, and our company are kind of more about elite or more experienced students as well. So each of these groups does have a fee, just to cover things like costumes and sheet music and entry into different events, that sort of thing. But as we go through, we are looking to extend our musical program. So we're looking at adding a jazz combo next year, and also hopefully a strings ensemble shortly. But we will send out a survey at the start of next year just to see what people are really interested in. Again, it's that demand rather than trying to superimpose something. So you can actually express your interest there, and then we can I think we're working on week 4 auditions and ensembles actually starting. So don't worry about signing up this year. It's all going to happen next year. The students just need to pay attention to the student notices.
Fantastic.
So just very quickly, thank you, Robin. Yeah, so sport. And this presentation is really based on a lot of questions that were asked during family interviews as well. We are really fortunate in regards to sport because we actually sit between 2 sporting zones. So where you would normally have obviously your CHS, which is your New South Wales Combined High Schools level, and then below that sits our regional, which we sit within Sydney East. So a lot of you might be familiar with Sydney East for representative pathways in primary school. In high school, we have 2 zones that we are a part of. Our Eastern Suburbs Secondary School Sports Association, as well as Blythe Secondary School Sports Association. And both serve a particular purpose in terms of accessing sport for our students. So in terms of representative pathways, that's through the Eastern Suburbs Secondary School Sports Association. And that means that you have an opportunity to represent at the zone, regional and state level for athletics, cross-country swimming, as well as zone and regional trials for a lot of those sports that you see there. Now, keep in mind, obviously year 7, there are certain sports that start at a 15-year-old age group. So know that not all sports are offered at that 12 and 13-year-old. However, for a lot of the big ones where there is not a huge concern around safety in terms of contact, they are on offer for students from next year. We also then supplement that with Gala Day. So we have like a Year 7 Gala Day where students will get an opportunity to go out and represent their school and choose a sport to do so. COVID has hampered that in 2020 and 2021, but I'm almost certain that 2022 should be a better year for that. And then our school team knockout competitions, where we enter our teams in knockout competitions against other schools within the region. And if they are successful in the knockout and making it to the final stages of the region, they might have an opportunity to then represent at the CHS level against other regions. So that's the representative pathways. Thanks, Nigel. Now, in terms of grade sport is similar to what students would know as PWSA in a lot of primary schools. We are one of the very few schools that still has grade sport in our area, and that's accessed through Blyzo. That is a weekly sports competition and a fantastic opportunity for students to try sports that they might not necessarily play on the weekend, or alternatively, maybe bolster a little bit of that competitiveness through the week on a regular Tuesday competition. Now, for students that are not interested in competitive sports against other schools, and they do get an opportunity to play up to 10 other schools in our zone, they do have recreation activities as well as house sporting activities that they can access. So students will have an opportunity to sign up early in 2022 for a particular sport that they would like to do, both summer and winter. Summer is term 1 and term 4, and winter is term 2 and term 3. But really exciting opportunities for sport. Thank you, Nigel.
Now, let's have a talk about uniform. We are so proud of the suite of options that we have for our students here at Inner Sydney. The fact is, we don't have, not based on gender, they're trans-seasonal. You can actually wear the uniforms all year round, and any of the items are available for you to wear. So many of our students do a great mix of both pants and or shorts. It could be the dress, or anything. But the whole point is they actually do draw from the suite of options. And because of that, we can ensure consistency and continuity of our uniform. Many people comment that they think we've got the best uniform they've ever seen, and I would have to say, I do agree. You can see within this image that some of our students wear a tie. Not everybody has to wear a tie, it is their choice. One of my favourite outfits could be the blazer with a pair of shorts. It looks great. It's about comfort, it's about being proud of your uniform and being able to, as I say, wear it with pride. So it is about having high expectations, it is about a sense of belonging. And I think all the information is actually in your pack that went home today. And I think it's really important, as I said, that we do choose from the suite of options within our uniform. And that's for the purpose of keeping it consistent. Now, it is as I say, from the shoes up. It does include navy blue socks is part of our uniform on the Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. On a sport day, it's okay. But it's really important that we can ensure that we maintain our high expectations of uniform for all of our students. And can I say, if there's any requirement for financial assistance, we are more than happy to provide that. And all that needs is a call to one of our friendly people in the office, and they'll be able to help you there. But Chris, anything else to add there?
Just the importance of the leather upper shoes. I think because we are going into specialist subjects. So we look at some of the subjects that you can see before you, and there are inherent risks in terms of the experiments as well as the work that you get to do in those spaces. So it's really important to understand that for the safety of the child, we need to make sure that their footwear is as safe as possible. For those particular subjects, we do look at leather upper black shoes, black in its entirety, I would say, as well as then for sports and practical activities, it's really important to have those supportive shoes with good grip, because we do have hard court surfaces that we utilise within the school. It's about making sure that our students don't do any sort of injuries there. Thank you. Now, lifts. It's a very important notion here, and something that probably many of you, even if you have older children at school, might not have experienced. We operate from this notion that lifts are used obviously by the students for destination floors. Now, we do look and revisit this often because obviously we are a school that is growing, but currently as it stands, we use the ground level 4 and level 8 as destination floors. Then what students do is they make their way to that destination floor and then they filter down, up or down, according to where their classroom space is. Now, students with additional needs, if they're identified by the school, can receive that additional support for movement throughout the learning spaces, and we will be touching base with those individual families. The school is also trialling the use of stairs for students. So there are internal stairs within our building, but there's also external stairs both on the eastern and western parts of the tower. And can I just say, probably some of the most incredible views to be had, Robin,
Absolutely.
Within our school. And we are really strongly encouraging looking at fitness challenges and a few other things where students can actually use the stairs. Currently, with our COVID restrictions, in fact, students have not been using lifts at all, and they've been enjoying the use of the stairs, and we've been getting some really lovely feedback from that. So again, it's something that we continue to evolve as the school builds up to the capacity in 2025, but currently as it stands, that's the idea of the lifts and how they work here at the school.
Now, technology, that's an exciting part of our educational model,
It
isn't it?
is a part of our technology strategy. And look, I've got Jamil here to my side, the president of the PNC, who helped us in terms of proposing the technology strategy that we have here at the school. And I guess the notion is we really strongly value the use of technology in our spaces as a tool to enhance learning opportunities for students. So we are very excited to say that in 2022, every one of our students will be allocated a device. It is their device to use. Obviously, it is from the school, but it is also their device to take care of. Now, another form that you would have seen, I feel like I'm banging on about forms at the moment, but another form that you would have seen is our form for the technology users agreement. And that outlines the use of the technology appropriately and using those digital citizen skills. What's also really important is for year sevens is we will store and charge these laptops here on site. So students will have a routine where they, at the start of the day, collect their device, go to their session 1, and by the end of the day, session 4, in the last 5 minutes, they'll make their way back to take their device back to the charging station. There is also opportunities to use these devices outside of school hours, and we'll talk a little bit about that at a later stage in the presentation. Our main focus is the use of Microsoft Teams and OneNote, which are incredible tools for learning that we have been using. And can I just say, absolutely made even remote learning seamless. The students did not miss a beat at all in terms of their lessons, in terms of Meet Now. So really fantastic technology that we use here. Now that also is the one-to-one devices, but then there are many other different devices that we do use within the school to also enhance the learning, and you can see that there before you. Thank you, Nigel.
Okay.
So some of the key facts to make this technology strategy work. Obviously, it is a very big outlay from the students, but it's really important to understand that we do need your support as families. Now, our Year 7 and Year 8 families that are currently here in 2021 all endorsed the use of these devices and said that they would commit to a technology levy of $250 for 2022 to be able to support that. But what that means is there's a lot of key elements that allows us to take care of. And one of the big things is the upkeep of these devices. So obviously the students will have an opportunity to charge them on site. There is a technology users agreement that we will ask from all families. And then the library will also be open as a workspace for time outside of the normal learning sessions. And we'll come to you with a bit more detail about that. But I think what we really need to look at is the advantages. So some of the advantages are the fact that we have guaranteed devices for all students. Doesn't matter from any socioeconomic status. There are opportunities, like Robin mentioned before, about financial assistance if it's needed, but we want to make sure that no child is ever precluded from rich learning opportunities using these devices. It also means that day 1, term 1, 2022, we will be ready to go. And it's more accessible and cost effective for all families. It saves the notion of having to go out and buy devices and making sure that the device is then compatible within the Department of Education, because these devices come imaged from the Department of Education. So it means it connects to printers. It means different updates for different applications. They get pushed out by one person to all devices. It also means that they are compatible with our Wi-Fi as effectively as possible, and they don't have any third-party issues there. And the school gets to catalogue those devices and identify them to make sure that we protect this valuable resource. We spoke about that equity and also the financial support that is there. So that's the advantages of our technology strategy. And obviously, as part of the technology levy, you, in essence, assist us to maintain that in 2022. So the PNC, Jamil, we'll hand over to you now.
So thanks, Chris. And I'll just further talk about the technology, especially this year, just how important that was, so that we could pivot from face-to-face learning to online learning seamlessly. And like you said, the PNC has endorsed this technology program, and the uptake from the parents and paying these fees so for the current students is why we can continue to offer this technology program to the incoming Year 7. So we're very much supporting this program, and it's been very beneficial, and we've had a lot of feedback from parents, especially this year, and just how amazing it was to be able to, like we said, go through from face-to-face learning one day straight onto online learning the next day, and every child had access to their own device and were able to continue with their learning. So
it's a great partnership, it really is.
Yeah,
it is. So that's amazing. So other than that, so I'm the president of the PNC. We've had an incredible 2 years so far, but we really need you as parents and carers to join the PNC and to help build our school community and to assist the school providing opportunities for our students. As you can see, the PNC meet twice a term, and this is hopefully we'll return back to face-to-face next year, but also we live stream it so that those of you that can't attend in person can also participate online. At these meetings, the principal or deputy principal will provide their updates, and this is an opportunity for you as parents and carers to engage with them directly and raise any concerns that you may have. We also have regular spotlight information sessions on the topical issues, and those topical issues normally come from you. You let us know what you want to discuss, and then we put that together and even invite guest speakers so that we can talk to those topical issues. We'll also update you on PNC activities and events. And in the picture shown here, this was an actual social activity. We had a parents bingo night, and we had some amazing parents volunteer their time to run this event. And this was a very successful evening. And as you can see there, we all piled into the gym, and it was a really lovely evening. And again, this is just before we went into lockdown. Just before. So
it was a great opportunity to meet other families, wasn't it?
It was a really great opportunity to meet with other parents. And so we're definitely we're looking forward to meeting you, new parents of INSEAD next year, and also having more events such as this one. And next, I've also got a slide here for just the frequently asked questions. So if you think you don't have time to be a part of PNC, it really caters for everyone. You don't have to attend every meeting. You don't have to participate in any activity, but anything that you can to help us to build, obviously, the community for your students, it's going to help build the culture of the PNC as well. Like we're saying here, it's a new school, it's a new PNC, so we really need you to get on board and help us with providing opportunities for our students. And probably I want to say that it is not like a primary school PNC. So we're not focused at all. This is not a fundraising committee. We are looking to make partnerships within the community and other opportunities that we can engage within our local area and your connections to help, again, with the students' learning. What can you do to contribute? Well, we have a diverse, obviously, school community, so with a range of skills and expertise, and so we'd like to hear from you and hear your ideas on how you think you can assist with building our PNC community. And next question, how to join the PNC? Well, it's very simple, and we will make sure that there's a QR code as well sent out to you, and it's just a $2 annual membership fee, and we'll make sure that those details are sent out to you for the ease of joining. And a quick plug, the very first meeting for 2022 is on the Wednesday evening, 6:30 p.m. on the 9th of February. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll make sure that gets out there, Jamil.
Yeah, thank you.
On communication.
Well, look, I think it's really important, everybody. I think what Jamil said is so true. It is about a partnership. It is about everyone working together, our students, our staff, as well as our parents. You are such an important part of the journey here at Inner Sydney High School, particularly as a brand new high school. But sometimes we know we're all super busy. So it's really important to keep in contact in some different ways. So as we mentioned before, the parent portal is so important. And I know that we're going to get that 100% rate earlier, won't we, Chris?
Yes, we will.
We'll get that as soon as possible as we start the new year next year. There's always a phone call away. So 9578 2020 is our phone number. Don't hesitate to call or email us if you've got any concerns or even just questions to start your child for next year. Our website is always been updated, and you can find our presentations from the last 2 years available on our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. So there's many ways to engage with the community. If you can't always make it to those P&C meetings, there are many ways to keep connected to Inner Sydney. Now, what we're going to do now is actually run through the burning questions. And these are questions that you have asked as parents, as community members over the last few years. So we've put them together to really try and answer as many questions as we can. And I know, Nigel, we do have a few questions already from our families. So we'll start by the first one. And I know it's a simple one, but we need to make sure we get it right. The first day of school is Tuesday, the 1st of Feb, 2022. And we'll ask you to make sure your child comes to school by 8:50 a.m. to the Chalmers Street entrance where your children came today. And we'll also have some students and teachers will be able to be there to greet our students. And because it's a Tuesday, everyone, you get to wear your sports uniform. So that's a pretty exciting way to start the week. Now, question for the parents. Do you need to stay with your child? No, you don't. I think our children were really excited to actually make their own way home. Is that right, Jamil?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the highlight for today.
Exactly. So please feel free. You can drop off, but you're not required to stay. And there will be opportunities later on in the year to meet staff and other families. But of course, everything we have to say is always dependent on those COVID restrictions. Now, what do you need to bring on the first day? Hopefully they'll bring their school backpack with a pencil case, a water bottle, morning tea and lunch, and just one exercise book. Because as we have mentioned before, there is I-Week starting. So it is a chance for our students to engage with so much information so we can make sure that by the end of that first week, they've got a really good handle on high school life. What do you need to bring for lunch? I would always suggest something healthy. If not, your menu is in the orientation bag and you can use the cafe, which is on level 1 in the tower. Now, this is something that doesn't happen too much, but if it does, please don't be alarmed. If there's any problem with your child leaving school at the end of the day, make sure they just go to the front office and we'll be there to assist. Now, sometimes there has been a few hiccups with buses or pickup time, but if there's any question whatsoever, please tell your child, and we'll tell them as well, make sure they go to the administration office. Now, as you would be aware, for those of you that actually do qualify for an Opal card, that will be subject to the criteria of the student travel and the distances there. Now, school camp. I would love to talk to this, but I know it is a favourite of Chris Kazanis here because he's a bit of a trooper when it comes to school camps. So I'll hand over to you, Chris.
Yes, outdoor recreation is my dream, and I get to live it quite often, but it is a really lovely opportunity as a catalyst for personal growth. So we really strongly encourage every child to be engaged in this camp that comes up. It is Wednesday, the 9th of February till the 11th. So that is actually week 3, but just keep in mind, we actually start week 1 on a Friday and it's just for staff alone. So when your child does come into school the 1st of February on that Tuesday, you'll find that is actually week 2. So camp is in very quick succession. And I know that there is a bit of a question coming up about it in terms of the payment. We will be sending out those fees and we'll talk to it at a later stage, but please prioritise paying of the camp beforehand because we do need to secure the spot for all the children.
And the numbers, need to get those
numbers.
numbers
And we do need to get those numbers in, but yeah, great opportunity.
Okay, no, so in terms of paying those fees, thank you so much to those families that have already actually paid through on the school website. But an email will be sent to you with a link for payment by the end of this week. And as Chris just mentioned, if you could prioritise the camp fees, that would be very much appreciated because we need to have those numbers by 16th of December, which is the last day for students this year, so we can confirm the numbers with the camp. And as we mentioned before, if there are any concerns whatsoever about payment, please email the school and someone will get back to you as soon as possible in terms of some financial assistance. Oh, okay, that's my next slide. I think I've already covered that one. So please make sure you can email the school. And as I said, someone will get back to you. Now, this is a really exciting one, and that's about our Inspired Leadership Group. Once again, this is started from scratch, where we have actually designed and developed our own leadership group to meet the needs of our students. Some families might be really pleased to know that it's not a voting system. Anyone is able to join the Inspired Leadership Group, and it's open to anyone to come along. Now, the meetings are held pretty much twice a week, and students work in individual portfolios. Our students have designed these portfolios, and as you can see, They are community, sustainability in the arts, sport, wellbeing, and social justice. And then students can nominate to become an executive leader if they wish to. So our leadership group have done some fantastic work over the last 2 years, and we look forward to seeing some more Year 7 students joining in 2022. Now, this is a really important slide, and it's about taking care of personal belongings. Please make sure that we don't take any responsibility for personal belongings, and we do encourage students to keep valuables on their self, and our school uniform is designed with zippered pockets to do exactly that. Equipment for band and other activities can be stored on site, but an email will have to be sent to the school to arrange that storage. And in terms of lockers, I think it's important to mention that we do not have lockers for students on site. However, if students have additional needs, for example, they might be travelling between different houses, or there could be a broken leg or any other need, please make sure you go and see Mr. Kazanis and we can organise a locker for you. Now, the big one, the $1 million question, is about mobile phones. I'm really proud to say that we are a school that has zero tolerance to mobile phones. Students are not allowed to bring their phones to school. They're not allowed to be used at all times. So they can, if they're at school, they have to be invisible. We should not see them at all. Because we have our one-to-one devices, there is no need for students to use the internet, because we have that capacity through our laptops. So it's really important that we don't have any use of mobile phones whilst on site. And on that note, if you wish to contact your child, please don't text and please don't call them. All you need to do is call the front office on that number 9578 2020, and we can certainly get a message to your child. And it probably goes both ways. We really want our students to be independent, start their learning journey as young people. So on that note, once again, if they need to contact parents, all they need to do is come down to the front office. It's a really valuable and important point for student wellbeing.
And I like the feedback Friday that we get
Yes.
from this. Students actually feel supported in terms of building those meaningful connections without the use of phones. They also know that those cyber issues, there are a lot less cyber issues that take place because the fact that the phones are not used in a classroom space or within the school. So it is something that the students do understand. They find it a bit difficult initially, but when they see the actual rationale, the why behind it, which is so important, they are fully supportive of that. So we really look forward to our incoming Year 7 cohort to support us.
And I can see that actually working, Chris, because at the end of the school day, without a doubt, our students, the phones come out, but it's really lovely to see they actually respect the expectations that we have, and the phones do come out when it's out on Chalmers Street, but not within our school grounds.
And when we have to deal with it, we support our children to make the right decisions, and we do that.
Now, in terms of when does my child wear the sports uniform, that is actually on a Tuesday, as well as their PD Health PE lessons. But don't worry about that. We'll actually walk you through that during I Week, and our students will get changed into their sports uniform in our change room facilities in the gymnasium. Now, the timetable. We're not even going to show you the slide of the timetable because it might be a bit confusing, but don't worry. Once again, in I Week, we'll be able to walk you through your every child's timetable. But it's important for you to know that we structure our timetable in week A and week B. And every time, even if we have an 11-week term, we always start each term on week A. Now, once again, it's really important, just in case your child does forget something, if it's urgent, please notify the front office. But it's really important, we want to empower our students to actually see that as a learning opportunity. So if they do forget something, it might not be the end of the world, but they'll certainly perhaps learn from that opportunity and make sure they remember that item next time. So what we really want to do is strengthen their resilience and their grit. And what it means is, as our school grows, we'll have close to 600 students next year. It's really hard for the front office to be finding all of those students. So we really do encourage our students to be prepared as well. That means packing that bag the night before to be ready for learning for the next day. Now, this is also a really important one. Just in case your contact details do change, can you please let the school know? That becomes really important in terms of, phone contact details. So please either do that through the central parent portal, or once again, email the school or give the school a call. Now, I know I mentioned that earlier, but we're very pleased to see that Japanese will be taught in 2022 for our Year 7 students. Now, in terms of getting their uniform, I think all of you have been so proactive in making bookings, and I know that so many of you have contacted Noon and you've actually got your bookings already set up. But look, it's not far across the bridge. It's only at Chatswood and it is open 6 days a week. So please contact Noon. They're a fantastic uniform supplier and they'll be able to fit you in to get that uniform sorted for day 1 of 2022. Now, this is going to be absolutely important for everybody, including you as parents. No doubt there'll be lots of information presented tonight that you may forget, but it's okay. This presentation will be recorded and posted on our YouTube channel, available on the website. But also from what we've talked about today and this afternoon, it's okay. There's a lot of information, but we're going to go through our extensive iWeek program to make sure that we cover all the information for our students so they're ready to start 2022 on the front foot. Now, as I mentioned earlier about communication, we really love hearing from our community as well. I mean, some of the feedback we actually received during lockdown was just absolutely fantastic, and to hear the way in which our students did actually cope during that fairly stressful period of time was incredible. So we do keep in contact with you through our InnoBuzz newsletter, and that actually is published once a fortnight on a Friday during our week B. We're in a week B this week, through our social media channels, and also once again through our central parent portal. So really, that's it for our burning questions before we hand over to our questions that have been posted during our live Q&A. And can I say, we are so looking forward to seeing you next year at INSID. It's been an incredible journey to welcome our Year 7 students, only in building 1, 2 and 3. Our students this year, we've got Year 7, Year 8, and then to move into Years 9 as well next year. It's so exciting, but there's nothing more exciting than seeing our students starting their first day in SID. So what we'll do now is hand over to you, Chris, to start the ball rolling with our questions.
So thank you. We hope we answered many of the questions in the presentation, but obviously there are a few still that would like to be asked. So we are, as a panel here, going to sit there and answer those. Thank you to all the people that have taken the time to write these constructive questions, because we really want to make sure that we hit home with this whole idea of orientation for the families and the parents and carers, as well as for the students. So the first one, thank you from Mella, will Art Gallery of New South Wales also be involved? Now, I assume that would be in relation to our educational precinct. And Mella, can I just say, it is a great opportunity. The educational precinct is a bit of a guide as to areas that we would go to. Now, if we see some educational value in some of those spaces, absolutely they would be included. And we have just recently appointed another visual arts teacher.
Yes, actually.
So that faculty is great, and I'm sure that they will be the people that would be better suited to answer that question come 2022.
But we also have a formal arrangement with the Museum of Contemporary Art, and we've actually got a meeting tomorrow just to firm up those arrangements for next year as well. Yeah,
which is a lovely partnership that we have enjoyed. I will throw one over to you, Miss Lane. What's the difference between ensemble and company?
Sure. So ensemble it's slightly different for dance and drama this year, because I've had a lot of interest in drama. I was able to keep ensemble really for Year 7 students. So kind of people that were new to the school and new to drama as well. And Year 8 was the company. Most of those students had actually performed or have been a part of the Year 7 ensemble the year before. So slightly different in drama. I'm just kind of going to see how many people we've got interested in drama and decide on how that structure happens next year. Dance, all students audition for dance, and the company is probably about 12 students that are showing those higher level skills. So they will be doing more routines than the ensemble, because they're students that can learn choreography a lot faster. There might be students that do dance outside of school as well. And the ensemble is really for students that are beginners or perhaps still have to develop their physicality within the dance, different forms of dance that we actually undertake.
All right, thank you very much, Renee. So just a question, Robin, I'll throw this one to you, because obviously they've seen our beautiful face masks. Thank you to the Field family. Are the uniform guidelines surrounding what colour the face masks are?
Look, they're not going to be. Look, in an ideal world, I would say that we won't be wearing face masks this next year. But in the meantime, no, it won't be part of our uniform.
Not an issue. And another one, since we're on the topic of the Field family, thank you for these wonderful questions. Central have the ability to have a lock-in for each parent so they can both be on parent devices. Absolutely. all you need to do is you need to arrange your own individual account. So you need an email for that account, and then you download the application, you put that in, you create your account. We will then send you either a family key or an individual student key, depending on your family circumstance. But it means that, yes, you'll be able to keep an eye, both members of the family will be able to keep an eye on it. Also, another question from Anonymous, just about vaccinations as part of the Orientation Day booklet, the vaccination program. Now, I'm assuming that this refers to the booster shot for the COVID vaccine for children. That is not the case here. It is actually the other boosters that you have normally pre-COVID that are given to students in those teenage years. So there's a little bit of more information about it there, and there should be a website that you're able to go and see about the vaccination program in schools. I hope that answered your question. Now, there was another one from Shuripriya. I really hope I said that right, and I apologise if I don't. Just about the curriculum books and what you might need in reference to Year 7. Well, look, we are actually very fortunate, and I know Nigel would probably be busting to answer this question, but we actually do a lot of subscriptions for our students. We do work with one of the authors of the maths textbook here at the school, and they are a critical friend and someone that comes in as an advisor for mathematics. We also have styles in science as well as other ones within our other KLA areas. So a lot of our systems that we put in place, we actually do subscriptions for those devices,
Yep.
and they are available, which means that a lot of students aren't needing to carry those heavy textbooks around that probably you and I had to do when we were at school. Also, what's interesting to note is if we do need textbooks, we tend to buy them as class sets, but if we do have any need for families to purchase them, we will give them plenty of notice. But for the moment, rest assured, you don't need to purchase.
Yes, please don't do anything. You don't need to. Remember, once you're starting I Week, our students will be very well informed about what they'll be studying ahead of
Absolutely.
time.
All right, so there's a question from Anonymous just about tests undertaken throughout the term. Look, thank you very much for your question. Essentially, we do something that's called Common Collaborative Assessment, which are low stakes checkpoints, we call them, where we check in for the students on how they are progressing. And that can actually take place anywhere within a subject almost 30 times. And what that allows us to do is, first of all, lower a little bit of anxiety around tests. It is something that we do for stage 4, and we look at how we're going to scale that up to stage 5. But it also ensures that teachers have a data set or a data point at a point in time to be able to inform their planning moving forward. So if there is something that they can see the majority of students have not understood, they can revisit that as a perfect example. So we will have more information about that. A lot of these questions, we don't want to overload our families during orientation day because they can have I've got a 2022 Year 7 mother right here. So what we want to do is give you that slow drip feed in terms of the important things. For now, it's about getting here on site, but we are going to, at a later stage, go through that in a little bit more detail. Now, Natasha asks about the school's approach to discipline. I'm sure a few of us can answer this, but Renee might get it started because I know you spoke a little bit about PERMA and positive education, and I might jump in after that.
And then I might too. We'll see how we go.
Sure. So we have a process called reflection, which is really about students, I guess, reflecting on the behaviours that may not be positive in the moment, and sitting down with the teacher and actually working through a worksheet that gets them to really consider what has happened and what they can actually do to avoid those types of behaviours appearing and what the consequences are there as well. So we aren't a PB or school, which some schools may very well be. We really want students to take responsibility for their own actions and to obviously see what they have done that hasn't been in line perhaps with positive education, and then being their best selves, and then being able to make an agreement with the teacher, and also obviously thinking about the rest of the impact on the rest of the class to try and improve that behaviour. We also do have a structure where if unfortunately that doesn't, and we actually haven't had many students that all get to the level of a workshop time with the deputy principal, but we actually have layers inbuilt into that reflection structure where things can escalate if students unfortunately aren't taking on the feedback. But at this point in time, we also make a lot of contact with families too. You know, if something's not going so well at school, the teachers are very forward in giving you a phone call and letting you know what's happening as well. So that we can work together to create a really positive environment for that student.
That's really true, Renee, because I think it is important. That parent contact is really crucial. And that's why with Chris and I, in terms of sometimes we do have discipline meetings with students and families, And to have that ongoing support and that open relationship is really important to see. Sometimes some of the choices our students make aren't always the right one. So therefore, it is a learning opportunity to ensure that that situation doesn't happen again. So it's a bit about choice theory, isn't it?
It is choice
It's about
theory.
encouraging our students to think about the choices they make, the impact it has on others, to ensure it doesn't happen again.
And we love the growth with the learning opportunity,
Absolutely.
don't we, Robin? Because that's really where it's at. Obviously, after the consequence, there is that learning opportunity, and that's our focus. And that goes back to the PERMA model and a positive education and empowering our students to make better choices. So
And
thank
we
you
do
very
have,
much for
sorry, on
that.
that point too, we actually do have quite distinct layers. So we have our teachers, we have our head teachers. So there is a bit of line management that happens. So we've got many different people that our students can come and talk to as well, if they do have any concerns or any worries.
All right, so another question. Thank you, Field family. Just about 8:50 start. And what time do the school gates open in the morning?
So they open, goodness me, I think they're open at about 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So what you can do at the moment with COVID, we've had to actually change things a little bit in the mornings, but our gates will be open. So there's no reason why our students they can actually come to school before 8:50. But unlike primary school, there's actually not a teacher on site in terms of supervision, but our students are welcome to come to school early. There could be ensembles, there could be a lot of our students play handball in the morning. So it's a very open and welcoming space to come to school before that 10 to 9.
And even when the gates aren't open, you can obviously press the buzzer to be let in, and there is office staff in the front office from 7:30. If anything is earlier than that, we normally arrange with the individual students. Now,
And what that one, can I ask, just in terms of the start of the day, the end of the day is, as I mentioned before, it's 3:10. 10 past 3 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Sport is generally around that 2:40 mark. That can vary as well, depending on what the sport the students are doing. And on a Thursday, the students finish at 2:50. So as it stands now, with our 3-year groups coming through next year, that's exactly the time the students will be finishing.
all right, Alison, we finally got there with your question. Thank you so much for typing it the third time. I just wanted the clarity around it. Really appreciate it. And you said that you're already a member of the PNC of the school community that you work for. Is it okay to be a part of both? Now, our PNC president is right here, and I'm sure would be more than happy to answer that.
You know, absolutely. And so we're definitely looking for new Year 7 parents to join the PNC. We have representation currently across Year 8 and Year 7. So next year, we definitely want to encourage the new incoming Year 7 parents to join. I've had the opportunity to be a part of the PNC since inception, actually prior to the school even having a name or a uniform. So it's certainly, I found that to be a great opportunity to be able to give back and volunteer to the school. And absolutely, we need the new parents to insert themselves into the PNC community. And I'm sure that you have a lot to offer. So look forward to meeting you.
All right, thank you for your question, Harry. Just a question about girls playing cricket. We will take that under advisement. We are currently having our end of year planning for both zones. Currently, as we speak, it would only be a representative pathway through Eastern Suburbs Secondary Sports Zone. However, we are looking at what sports are on offer for grade sport in stage 5. So if it's not in stage 4, it could be at a later stage. Happy to talk to you a little bit more on that in person. Now, a question from Anonymous just about gifted students. And I know that we do have a coordinator here at the school who isn't with us today, but I will hand over to Renee if she would like to talk a little bit about that, because she started the preliminary work around gifted education.
Yeah, sure. So we have actually identified, we do go through the process of identifying students that are on the gifted end of things. We do, I think what you'll find is pretty much all subjects differentiate within the lesson. So there's always an extension activity available for students. There's always different options and choice within the lesson. So we do have mixed ability classes, as you're probably aware. So within that classroom, there will be a range of different abilities, but the teachers will always have extension work there and also scaffold to different tasks to cater for a range of abilities. In terms of extra enrichment opportunities, we do have, we just actually participated in the Game Changer Challenge. We run debating and public speaking. We also have I actually consider our ensembles, particularly when we get to the company level, and then we start building into different levels of ways of concert band, but those are also opportunities that students can undertake as well. So I would suggest that we inbuild into our lessons lots of extension in terms of giftedness and high potential students as well.
All right, thank you very much, Renee. Now, there's a couple of questions, very similar sort of theme, just around obviously the devices and the notion of homework. We actually call homework prep here at Inner Sydney High School. A lot of the work that students do, they actually do in preparation for their lessons. Now, in terms of accessing the device, we spoke about in the presentation, there is opportunities using the library to be able to access the device outside of those hours. There also might be a need at some stage for students, and while we haven't crossed it, given our current sort of community that we do serve where there are access to device at home, all our platforms are accessed through their student portal. So for a lot of students, there is no need to take the device home. They have another device at home that they can access and work on through the portal there. But if there is a need for a particular family, we can organise access to that device if it doesn't fit within the use in the library space. And in terms of the actual work that is completed, we do have, like Renee mentioned, a lot of extension work for students that they can complete as homework, as well as those extracurricular opportunities. And staff do set prep work, which allows students to get their mindset right for the particular topic that is coming up. But that is something that, yes, we do look at in terms of both the device as well as the homework. So thank you to a couple of people that asked in and around those similar sort of questions.
And can I just raise a point about the session times, just so that you know, because it is a lot to take in. We have included this map and also the session times within the pack that went home this afternoon. So just to reinforce the fact that school will finish, as I said, at 3:10, except for Thursday 2:50. Sport will begin at approximately, it varies in terms of 1:45 to 1 o'clock, and it will finish at approximately 2:40. But that information is actually in the pack that went home with your child today.
So now just a question from Anonymous, just about student communicating with parents or school communicating with parents who do not communicate as much with each other. I just want to say that there is a feature on Parent Portal which allows for a student access code. So that's what I alluded to earlier in terms of if there is a need for two family members to be able to have contact with what's happening with the child at school, but are not on those terms with each other, there is a feature there for that. But I think most importantly is if there is a need, what we'll do is we'll identify it very early on. We'll look at the communication, what we've got on file, how that's disseminated to the families. And if it is a problem, please just reach out. You'll know very early on if you're not receiving emails from the school for any of those updates in terms of communication. And what we'll do is we'll look at a bespoke solution for you.
Sure.
Now, I am going to ask our wonderful Sam,
Yes.
Janice Biala, to come up because there's a lovely question from Samantha talking about paying fees and if they can only do it through the website. Would you mind coming up? Because you have been waiting for a few of these if they were there. Let's welcome to the panel. Thank you very much, Janice.
Janice is our school administration manager who does all the back end of all the finances of the school, does an incredible job. So over to you, Janice.
Okay, so look, the way we do fees here is that when we need to send out a fee for whatever it might be, you'll get an email with a link to School Bites, which is a link that then attaches to our system and enables you to pay your fees. So when there's something required, you'll get that email with the link, and that's when you can make the payment. Alternatively, at any time, you can do it through the school website. With the make a payment tab on the website, but realistically, most of the time you will get this link sent to you, and I'll be sending one sometime this week to our current school fees that we're asking you to pay, as well as the camp fee, and you'll be able to make your payment then.
Thank you very much, Janice. We may call on you again if there are any other questions because we do have the expert in the room, but yes, we are getting close to the end of our presentation. I will throw one just over again to our wonderful head teacher, Kappa, just about opportunities for my son to take bass guitar lessons.
Okay, so at present we don't offer peripatetic or tutoring lessons in music, so that is a whole other ball game. We may in the future, but at this point in time we don't. Just to add to, if your child is in band, we don't actually own. We don't rent out instruments, but the arts unit at Lewisham does for a really reasonable price, much cheaper than we'd be able to if we had to buy many flutes and clarinets. So just so you're aware of that too, contact the arts unit. They have some wonderful instruments that are quite reasonable to hire.
All right, thank you, Ms. Lane. So just another one from Anonymous. Is there a school diary? Do you teach any organisational or study skills? Robin, would you like to answer that?
We actually had a meeting about that today,
We
so
did.
thank you for that question. So yes, there will be a school diary for our Year 7 students next year, and you will be invoiced for that diary. It's going to be an incredibly handy tool. It will actually give an overview for students in relation to some of those just the logistics around starting high school, but also a little bit about PERMA that Renee talked about, our positive education, our recognition system, and also about organisational skills and research skills. So our librarian, Miss Rose, will also be working with our students in relation to developing those skills right from the beginning of Year 7.
That's great. Now, I do notice there are a lot from Anonymous. I don't know if this is one particular Anonymous or several, but please feel free if there is something that is very unique to your context, if you can put a name or alternatively after this presentation, reach out via email. I'm sure that we can actually cater our advice directly to you and your situation.
But Chris, I might like to take that question of the Field family. I think that's a really good one in terms of all those extracurricular activities, because I know when you see the long list, it might seem quite overwhelming, but it's pretty important to know that it is a broad list. It might be a taster. It might be something you might like to try for a term and then pick up something new. I really like in part of your question, you were saying that I'd like to try something different. I think that's a really good opportunity. For example, with our creative writing club, it might be something you might want to try even for a term. So my advice would be, don't worry too much. Have a look and see what's on offer and see what fits in with your schedule pre or post school.
All right, thank you, Robin. And now I've just got 2 questions to finish off, and thank you for everyone from who have participated in this webinar. Just one about the school library and when it is open. We will communicate that a little bit closer to the time. There is opportunity and staff in there. It actually serves as a bit of a student hub. So there is the deputy principal, head teacher, wellbeing counsellor, librarian, and other staff that are in there. So there is an opportunity most days before and after school, with the exception of some of our meeting days, that students can access that wonderful facility. It is a beautiful facility. I'm sure you have already seen it. And finally, we just have one last question. There was a bit of clarification for sport. So at 2:40, sport does
And the session
conclude,
times.
and the session times are in that pack. So thank you, everyone. And on that note, I'll hand over to you, Robin, for closing remarks.
Well, what can I say? Thank you so much for attending our webinar this afternoon. This presentation will be recorded, but if you'd like to have a look at this at a later time for further reference. So we have covered a lot of ground. We're really proud of the work we're doing here. We could have gone on for a few more hours, but we won't bore you to tears with that one. But there's a lot to learn. We're very proud of the work that we're doing. We are so keen to welcome you all to our community next year. All I can say at that note is have a wonderful break, have a well-earned holiday, and look forward to seeing you next year. And once again, please look out for our communication channels, because as we know, with our restrictions do change on a regular basis, so we can keep you up to date with any news. So on that note, farewell, have a wonderful break, and we'll see you next year.